Gemini, this year is not about rushing forward. It's about paying attention, not to what people say, but to what they consistently show you. If there's one lesson the year brings for you, it's this. Not every connection deserves the same level of access to your mind, your time, or your emotional energy. And if you ignore that, you'll feel drained without fully understanding why. You've always been adaptable, curious, open. You learn people quickly, you read situations fast, and because of that, you often assume you can handle anyone. But this year doesn't reward that mindset. This year tests discernment. It tests boundaries. It asks you to stop giving people the benefit of the doubt when the patterns are already clear. Some zodiac signs, when combined with your natural flexibility and mental openness, create growth. Others slowly exhaust you, confuse you, or limit your expansion without openly opposing you. The danger isn't obvious conflict. The danger is subtle erosion, and that's what this year exposes. Gemini, your mind is fast, but your blind spot has always been tolerance. You tolerate contradictions. You tolerate mixed signals. You tolerate people who say one thing and act another way because you're always searching for the deeper explanation behind their behavior. This year, that habit costs more than it gives. The signs you need to be careful with aren't bad signs. They're incompatible with the version of you that's trying to evolve now. And if you don't recognize that difference, you'll keep feeling like time is slipping away, like you're working harder but moving slower, like something keeps pulling you back whenever you try to move forward. This year demands that you stop explaining yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. Let's start with one of the most challenging energies for you this year, Taurus. Taurus doesn't move fast, and normally that's something you admire. Their stability can feel grounding, their loyalty can feel safe, but this year, Taurus energy clashes with your need for mental movement and growth more than usual. Taurus wants consistency. You want evolution. Taurus wants things to stay proven. You want to explore what hasn't been tested yet. The problem isn't disagreement, it's stagnation. Taurus may unintentionally slow you down by questioning your changes, your new ideas, or your need to shift directions. They may frame it as concern, practicality, or realism, but over time, you start second-guessing yourself. You start explaining instead of acting. You start negotiating instead of moving. This year, Gemini, be careful not to confuse comfort with alignment. Taurus can offer emotional safety, but if staying close to them makes you shrink your curiosity or delay your growth, the cost becomes too high. You're not here to live life on pause. Next, let's talk about Cancer. Cancer understands emotion deeply, but this year, emotional entanglement is your risk. Cancer can pull you into cycles of emotional responsibility that were never yours to begin with. They feel deeply, and because you're empathetic and mentally flexible, you often become their sounding board, their translator, their emotional anchor. At first, this feels meaningful, like connection, like intimacy. But over time, you realize you're carrying emotions that aren't yours. You start filtering your words, your truth, your spontaneity to avoid triggering reactions. You become more careful than curious, more cautious than expressive. This year, Gemini, be careful with signs that make you feel responsible for their emotional stability. You're not meant to manage moods. You're meant to exchange ideas, experiences, and growth. Cancer may not intend to limit you, but emotional dependency has a way of quietly draining your energy. Then there's Virgo. Virgo challenges you mentally, and that's usually exciting. They notice details you overlook. They refine ideas. They sharpen your thinking. But this year, Virgo energy can cross from helpful to restrictive. Their constant analysis can turn into quiet criticism. Their need for structure can clash with your need for mental freedom. You may feel like you're always being observed, evaluated, or corrected. Not aggressively, but subtly, enough to make you doubt your natural flow, enough to make you overthink instead of experiment. This year, Gemini, be careful with people who turn your curiosity into something that needs fixing. You're not broken. You're exploratory. There's a difference. And when someone can't tell the two apart, they end up limiting you under the disguise of improvement. Now let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is intense, magnetic, and psychologically deep. And that depth draws you in. Conversations feel profound. Connections feel meaningful. But this year, Scorpio energy brings power dynamics you shouldn't ignore. Scorpio seeks depth through control and emotional intensity, while you seek depth through understanding and movement. The danger here is subtle manipulation, not always intentional but present. Scorpio may test loyalty, probe vulnerabilities, or create emotional tension to see how much influence they have. For you, this becomes exhausting. You begin to feel like you're constantly navigating emotional undercurrents instead of simply existing. This year, Gemini, be careful with signs that turn connection into a psychological game. You don't thrive in emotional pressure chambers. You thrive in open air, where thoughts can breathe. Sagittarius also deserves a mention, surprisingly. You and Sagittarius share curiosity, humor, and a love for ideas. But this year, Sagittarius energy can feel unreliable. They move fast, but don't always follow through. They promise growth, but sometimes avoid responsibility. And you, believing in potential, may wait longer than you should for consistency. This year is not about chasing shared dreams that never ground themselves in reality. Be careful with signs that inspire you, but don't support you. Inspiration without stability becomes distraction. Gemini, the common thread with all these signs isn't malice. It's mismatch. And this year magnifies mismatches more than ever. You're evolving faster than some connections can handle, and instead of adapting with you, some signs unconsciously try to pull you back to who you were. That's why this year feels urgent to you, like time is running out. It's not that time is moving faster, it's that your tolerance for misalignment is shrinking, your intuition is sharper, your patience is thinner, and your soul knows that staying in the wrong dynamics costs you more than leaving them. This year asks you to choose clarity over comfort, distance over confusion, and alignment over attachment, and we haven't even touched the signs that challenge you in quieter, more deceptive ways yet. Gemini, one of the biggest mistakes you can make this year is assuming that danger always comes loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as familiarity, humor, or even admiration. And that's why certain zodiac energies require even more awareness now. Not because they openly oppose you, but because they subtly interfere with your momentum. Let's talk about Libra. Libra feels easy for you. Conversations flow, ideas bounce effortlessly, and there's a shared appreciation for intelligence and perspective. But this year, Libra energy can create a dangerous illusion of harmony. Libra avoids conflict, avoids hard truths, and avoids making decisive moves when clarity is needed. For you, that becomes frustrating over time. You may find yourself waiting for decisions that never come, for conversations that stay surface level when depth is required. Libra may agree with you verbally, but hesitate when action is needed. This creates mental stagnation for you, too many open loops, too many unresolved dynamics. Gemini, be careful with signs that prioritize peace over truth. Growth doesn't always feel balanced, and this year requires honesty more than harmony. Now let's address Pisces. Pisces lives in emotional and intuitive realms, and that can initially feel intriguing to you. There's creativity, imagination, and emotional sensitivity. But this year, Pisces energy can blur boundaries you desperately need to protect. They may misunderstand your curiosity as inconsistency or your honesty as emotional distance. You may feel like you're constantly clarifying yourself, softening your words, or managing emotional interpretations that weren't your intention. Over time, this creates mental exhaustion. You start feeling misunderstood not because you're unclear, but because the other person is projecting. This year, Gemini, be careful with signs that absorb your energy without grounding it. Emotional depth without clarity becomes confusion, and confusion is your biggest enemy right now. Capricorn also plays a complicated role in your year. Capricorn respects discipline, structure, and long-term plans. On paper, this should balance you. But in reality, Capricorn energy may make you feel like your way of thinking is inefficient or impractical. They may not understand your non-linear process, your need to explore before committing. You may feel pressured to justify your ideas in rigid frameworks that don't fit your mind. Over time, this leads to self-doubt. You begin questioning your instincts, even when they've always guided you well. Gemini, be careful with signs that measure success in only one way. Your intelligence doesn't move in straight lines. It expands outward, and when someone can't value that, they limit you without realizing it. Now let's talk about Leo. Leo brings confidence, charisma, and strong presence. At first, this energizes you. There's creativity, boldness, and shared excitement. But this year, Leo energy can subtly shift into dominance. Their need to be seen and validated may overshadow your need for intellectual exchange. You may feel like your voice becomes secondary, like conversations turn into performances rather than mutual exploration. Leo doesn't always intend this, but their intensity can drown out your nuance. This year, Gemini, be careful with signs that demand attention instead of connection. You don't want to compete, you want to collaborate. Aquarius, surprisingly, also requires caution this year. Aquarius understands ideas, innovation, and unconventional thinking, which makes you feel mentally at home. But Aquarius can detach emotionally in ways that feel cold or dismissive to you. They may intellectualize emotions you're still processing, creating distance when you're seeking understanding. You may feel like something is always missing, like the connection is brilliant but incomplete. This can leave you questioning whether you're asking for too much, when in reality, you're just asking for presence. Be careful this year with signs that retreat when depth becomes uncomfortable. Intellectual connection without emotional grounding leaves you floating without direction. Now, Gemini, here's the truth beneath all of this. This year isn't about cutting people off dramatically. It's about adjusting access. Some signs don't need to be removed from your life. They just don't deserve front-row seats anymore. The more you evolve, the more selective you must become with who gets to influence your thoughts, decisions, and self-perception. You are entering a phase where your mental clarity becomes your greatest asset, and clarity requires space. Space from emotional noise, space from constant explanations, space from people who benefit from keeping you uncertain. The reason this year feels heavier is because you're no longer meant to scatter your energy. You're meant to concentrate it, and that means noticing who drains you after conversations instead of energizing you, who questions your growth instead of supporting it, who makes you feel smaller instead of sharper. Gemini, you don't owe anyone access to your evolving self. This year rewards boundaries. It rewards discernment. It rewards the courage to step back without needing a dramatic reason. Sometimes misalignment is reason enough. If you're watching this and you're a Gemini who's been feeling restless, mentally tired, or strangely impatient with certain people, trust that feeling. It's not random, it's awareness. And if this message resonated with you, let me know in the comments which sign you've noticed this energy with the most. Your experience might help another Gemini see something they've been ignoring. If you want more deep insights like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That support helps the channel grow and allows me to keep creating content that actually speaks to your mind, not just your sign. This year is about protecting your clarity, Gemini, and once you do, everything else starts to align.